Hello and welcome back for another exciting edition of Wind Down Wednesdays. My name is Mark.
My name's Amrut.
My name is H.
And we're happy to have you today as we're excited to talk about this amazing new single malt Scotch whiskey known as Amrut. And in fact, Amrut has been making a huge splash in the whiskey scene. In fact, it's been rated third in terms of the Whiskey Bible. So we're very excited to try this whiskey today. I have two guests today, and I'm very excited to see the two of you, if you don't mind me saying so. I noticed that this was one of the few days that you were extremely excited about.
Yeah, we were.
And is there a specific thing that you like about this Amrut whiskey? Have you had it before?
Yes, I've had it before. It's very smooth, and it goes down into like we have a saying in Hindi, like makhan.
I like that.
It goes down as smooth as butter.
As butter. I could go for some butter, and I have a question to ask you today, sir. Have you ever had a whiskey of this caliber before?
Yes, I've tried Amrut before.
Oh, great. The Fusion.
Yeah, Fusion.
Perfect.
It's amazing. It's very smooth, as he said, makhan, which is in Hindi, and it's way better than other Indian whiskeys. It's beautiful.
And it's quite unusual to have such an expensive Indian whiskey to begin with. I believe this was roughly around 2,400 rupees for this bottle of whiskey, compared to the last several whiskeys that we've tried in our Wind Down Wednesday. A great deal more. And we want to talk a little bit about this whiskey before we crack it open. I noticed that they talk about the water from the Himalayas here.
Yes.
And we want to talk specifically of what makes whiskey so delicious. Now, we noticed that this is a whiskey with a Y, so this has to be a Scottish whiskey, not an Irish whiskey. And in fact, we also talk about how water is so important in making whiskey. What makes the water from the Himalayas so spectacular?
The purity, probably.
Oh, I think that's probably one of the best answers I've heard.
It's taken from the glaciers of the Himalayas, so which makes it very pure and very probably the water itself has some natural flavors in it.
I like
the
that.
Himalayas, the rocks from which it comes down and something like that.
And I know that the barley comes from India
Yeah.
as well. Where does this barley come
The
from?
barley comes from Punjab and Rajasthan.
Awesome. One of my favorite styles of people.
Yeah, so it's biggest wheat and barley producers in the country. So yeah, it's quality barley and malt.
I like that.
Production area, yeah.
I like that a lot. So we're actually looking at a quite large change or shift in the average alcohol drinker here in India, where the 60-year-old man was drinking these 8 p.m. Officer's Choice, Blender's Pride, whiskeys, and now we notice that two relatively young gentlemen who enjoy a quite better tasting, higher end whiskey as their whiskey of everyday drinking, or maybe drinking for celebration easily. What I'd like to do is maybe talk a little bit about this whiskey. Would you care to open this whiskey for us as we start our tasting? I'd like to talk to you a little bit about how this whiskey was made. In fact, what they do is they take these barley and they malt the barley, and then after they malt this barley, they lay it out and dry it really nicely and make sure that it has a dark color to it, similar to cereal grains. And then what they'll do is they'll take this whiskey and they'll make it into small batches, and they'll blend a peated whiskey from Scotland with the Indian whiskey from India, obviously, and then they'll choose to age this whiskey in American white oak casks, specifically used bourbon casks. Pretty amazing. In fact, I think we just learned today that they age this whiskey in sherry casks.
Yes.
They age this whiskey in port cask now. They have a Amrut rum that they do in port casks as well, which I've just found out today as well. Very excited about this.
Something I'd like to add, I just read on the cover, it says that there's a part of barley that is imported from Scotland.
Yes,
So,
peated barley.
Peated barley, yeah. So this is kind of a blend of best of Scotland and India.
And it's going to have a great smoky flavor because of the peat.
Of the peat and probably the barrel that it was aged in.
Oh yeah, and that American white oak barrel has flavors of coconut.
Yeah.
And everybody knows how much I love coconut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about this. It's 46% alcohol. And first we're going to try our whiskey neat. And then we'll try our whiskey with a little bit of water. as well. And I always want to talk to the TV viewers out there, our YouTube viewers.
Oh.
You should always do a little bit of water.
Smell that?
Oh yes, it smells very fruity actually.
Yeah, the
very
moment you
fruity.
open it even without having some intense smelling sessions.
I mean, I can feel the excitement. I'm sure you across the world can feel the excitement. And in fact, what I want to talk about is what you could make with this. Possibly a Scotch whiskey you could use as a Manhattan. You could do it as an old fashioned. Or maybe you could just have your whiskey as an aperitif or a digestif. You were quite handsomely pouring our whiskey
Yeah.
today. I am sad to say we're going to have to dump all this out afterwards. I'm only sad to say that because you viewers in TV land won't be able to share all this whiskey. So as we like to do, we love to talk about our whiskey. First, we like to discuss the color of this whiskey. By far, amberish gold. Is that safe to say?
Definitely
Yeah, it's
gold.
gold, yeah.
Like a rose gold, or
Yeah.
even an older gold, a garnet gold would be safe to say.
But then when you come to the bottom, it kind of gets like pale yellowish by the time you come to the bottom.
By far the rim and the less
The bottom,
and the less viscous areas are by far a much lighter color, much lighter in color. But this is quite dark of a whiskey. In fact, when we talk about this Amrut fusion, we're talking about a whiskey that has been fused between Irish whiskey, Scottish peated barley and Indian barley. And next, I definitely can smell this whiskey from so far away.
So far, yes.
I'm excited to ask the two of you, what do you smell in this whiskey?
Off the top,
First thing that comes to my mind is honey. It smells like honey, sweet, something cherry or like caramelized maybe malt or barley.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
So that's sweetness.
vanilla.
Big fan vanilla. Any, I heard caramel, I heard vanilla, honey. Is there anything else that you smell in this whiskey?
It's intense. It's like it's a blow in your face.
This is by far a Isla single malt Scotch style whiskey. It has a tremendous amount of peat in it, a good amount of iodine or Band-Aid smells to it. Oh, this has a great candied aroma, but it's almost like caramel apples, caramel red apples.
So you can also smell the smokiness.
A little bit of some smokiness by far. That's the smoked peat that they use in this peated barley that is 50% of the fusion. Anything else that you smell in this whiskey? I get a lot of flowers. Young flowers, fresh flowers, daffodils, lilacs, maybe a hint of hibiscus, and I think that that's me
Also,
stretching.
Flowers, yes.
I was actually hoping to smell a little bit more coconut, but I feel like the peat in this and the smoke is very overwhelming. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
I think, like you said, they are aged in either sherry casks or bourbon casks. So I'm guessing this must have spent a lot of time of its age in sherry casks as compared to the bourbon casks.
You know,
Possible?
I'd be quite excited for that. In fact, they actually make a completely separate Amrut that is just aged in sherry casks. And they have one that's just aged in port casks. And then they have one that's straight up regular French oak, and then this one will be American oak.
Okay.
And as I like to do every Wine Down Wednesday, we always want to cheers our guests and thank you for coming. Now we want to try our whiskey the first way. We'll just try it lightly, and then what I'd like to do is possibly add a little bit of water to let this lighten up. And also I've been told if you add a little bit of water to this whiskey, it'll become a little bit hazy. Let's go ahead and try our whiskey. Very smooth, very smooth. Has a great flavor profile. In terms of this whiskey, I want to talk about the front, the middle, and then possibly the finish. What do you taste in the front or the beginning of you trying this whiskey?
It's tastes fruity.
Fruity.
Yeah.
Yes, any specific fruit that you want to hit right on the head with this one?
Yeah, like apple or some cherry, something candied.
Definitely apples, definitely maybe some dried cherries.
Yeah.
I get apricots,
Yeah, apricots.
but they're like smoked apricots. If that's even a safe bet. Now I want to ask you, what do you taste in the middle palate?
Some spice.
Yeah, a lot of cardamom,
Spice.
a lot of ginger, a lot of black pepper,
Yeah.
a great deal of spice, and a little bit of toast.
Yeah.
I get a little bit of toast in the middle. Now I see why you want to have this like butter.
Yeah,
Just put butter on your toast. I like that a lot.
And it's so smooth, like as compared to the other Indian whiskeys.
Oh,
This is
yes.
damn
Much,
smooth. You
much
cannot
smoother.
feel it going in.
And then I want to talk a little bit about the finish of this whiskey. It's a quite long finish.
I still
Yes.
have the flavor lingering in my throat.
Quite long finish and very smoky. Very smoky. A little hint of coconut at the end, but I get a little bit more vanilla than I do coconut for sure. And then on top of that, I get some pencil shavings, a little bit of graphite, a little bit of something medicinal, like some eucalyptus or something that you would put on your chest, like a Vicks Vapor Rub.
Yeah, definitely.
I like that a lot. Now I just want to add a little bit of water to your whiskey and have it open up as we just do a light splash here at Wind Down Wednesdays. And if you notice as we do our light splash, our water makes this slightly hazy. Slightly hazy.
Yeah.
Has a little bit harder time seeing through the glass. And also you saw we put very little water in here, but whiskey's meant to be had with a tiny bit of water as it allows the whiskey to open up. Do you notice any extra smells as you do that?
Yeah, it's more the flavor, the aroma, the flavor. It's coming more from the glass.
Oh yeah, I find this to be much more approachable.
Yes.
Much more approachable
Yes.
with a little bit of water. And I think it would be a shame, is that same to say, to add Pepsi or Coke to this?
No, but see, the thing is that in India, people don't have whiskey straight or on the
No, I noticed that.
because of the weather. It's too hot. And when you drink that, you can feel the heat inside your body.
Yes.
So that is the reason people add water or soda.
Half
And
soda, half
soda,
water. I see that a lot.
But still, I haven't come to understanding why people add Pepsi or Coke
Yes.
or any cola flavored drink with their whiskey. Why would they want to ruin the taste of the whiskey?
By far. Now I want to talk a little bit about if it tastes any different. Go ahead, let's try this whiskey again. Much more approachable.
Yep.
I get a lot more heathered honey.
Yeah.
Honey.
Honey has a dominant flavor.
I definitely get a lot more caramel as well.
Yeah.
A lot more caramel. And last but not least, is we want to thank you again for joining us on this Wind Down Wednesday. We're going to be talking next week about Old Monk rum. Very excited to have you. Very excited to see your excitement as well. And that's been a request. If you have any requests of what you'd like to hear from us on Wind Down Wednesdays, go ahead and leave us a post. And we want to thank you with possibly a quick suggestion of what you'd want to pair with this, food-wise.
I pair this with, I can't think of really, some kebabs maybe.
Okay.
I'm going butter chicken and
Oh, you know, I'm going to flip it up altogether. I say have this by itself and smoke yourself a large cigar. My name is Mark. Thank you for joining us on this Wind Down Wednesday. We'll see you next week.